Hi everybody, it's Janet with Fruit of the Vine Art Studio here. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'm so happy to be here with you. Let me just pull it up right here on the computer. There we go. Now I can see it when you hop on. I'd really appreciate it if you would just leave me a comment, say hey, hi, something along that line, just so that I know that you're there. Whoops, I just dropped my whole thing of baby oil. Luckily it's got a lid. Ah! Okay, anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to have a little bit of fun and we're going to make some shelf sitters. Now, you've seen me do these before. I've made little rustic pumpkins with it. I've made the blockheads for Halloween with them. I've done quite a few different things with these pieces of blocks. They're just 2x4s that I've cut, and they're about, somewhere around 4 inches, I think. Yeah, they're about 4 inches. So for this, we're going to be using 4 of these blocks, a little bit of some ribbon, a little bit of our friend raffia over here. We've got a great big bunch of that stuff, but I'm just going to use a little bitty bit of it. We're also going to be doing some of our other creative kind of things that we do around here. I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm going to use some napkins. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm going to do to it. I'm going to start off by first painting them white, the 2 of the 4 white. Let me show you what we've got going on down here. I've got them kind of sitting here thinking about what I want to do with them. Now, as you can see, this has to obviously be the back. There's a stamp on this one, so we know this is getting turned over. You want to look at your wood and see which is the side that you're going to be using up first. And then you want to determine which ones look like this one doesn't really, but it's kind of beat up right here in the middle. I'm not sure if you can kind of see that. It's kind of beat up. So I'm going to use this side even though there's some knot holes in it. But we're not going to use that one for the L. And then this one, it looks pretty good. It's got a pen mark back here, so I can say I'm going to be using this side of this one here. Now what I'm planning on doing is first I'm going to paint these 2 right here white. I'm going to paint one of them red and I'm going to paint one of them pink. And then we're going to put the letters on there, L-O-V-E. And then we're going to put a ribbon around it and some raffia on the top, and it's going to be a cute little shelf sitter to put on the shelf for Valentine's Day. I've got 2 different napkins I'm planning on using. I'm going to use this napkin right here that says love, 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 love all over it. I'm going to put it on this block up here, and then I'm going to put the L over the front of it. And then this particular napkin right here, I've only got one little corner of it left at this point, and I want to use it. I don't want to waste this piece of napkin because it's pretty. So I'm going to put it down here in this corner. Maybe I'll turn it this way. Let me look at it. Probably. And I'm going to put the E right here. So that's the plan. That's the game. That's the goal. First off, though, I'm going to paint these 2 right here. I'm going to paint those first. So I'm going to get my white right here, shake it up a bit. And if I need more, I'm just going to set it off here to the side. And I'm going to do this pretty quickly. I'm going to use my, my 2-inch chip brush. So I'm just going to dip this into the paint. And I'm just going to paint the front of this. Boy, I better be careful. That's slinging. Next thing you know, it'll be all over everything. All over my sweater, all over everything in the house. Okay, so I'm going to do the sides. I want it to have a nice finished look to it. I'm going to do the sides of it. I'm going to do the top area. Now I'm probably going to have to add more white to this just to make sure that, because it's cut and it's got the little circles in it of the tree's growth, those little rings make it kind of stand up, and you have to get extra paint to get into those areas. So I'm just trying to fill that in pretty good here. Let me get a little more white for that, because I want it to have nice coverage to it. This is the top of it. There we go. That looks like that's pretty well covered to me. I'm not concerned with the bottom half of it. Okay, and I'm just going to take this one. I'm going to put a little more right here on the sides where I touched it with my finger. Knock it over and sit it down, and I'm going to work on this one. Just a drop more there. It looks like I'm going to need some more white paint for this one. About the same amount, which is just a glob. I'm going to take it and do the exact same thing to this one. Except this time I think I might stand it up and start at the top. Just to get that nice coverage going. Okay, work on the side here. Bring it up this side here. And I want to make sure I'm getting a nice coverage on the sides too. Even though I'm going to be putting a napkin on here, it's not going to go all the way around the side of it. It's only going to go part of the way. All right, and then we'll just put a nice coverage on the front. And we can call these 2 blocks done for the moment. We're going to put them off to the side and let them dry. I'm going to just lift it from here, pick it up underneath. That little knot right there is sucking up the paint. So I'm going to just put a little extra where that knot is and where that little ding is right there, and then just, it's going to have a napkin over it too though, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm going to put these 2 over here, lift it up, pick it up from the piece that's not painted, pull this one down here and this one down here. Now I'm going to use some red. Let me find my red here. That's my magenta. I don't know if this one's... Let me give it a shake. Oh, good. It came straight out. Sometimes these pumps, I mean, they're nice. I use these for like paint parties. When I go somewhere and do a paint party, an in-person paint party, I use the pumps. But they will dry up. You have to be very careful with them. They'll dry up, and then when you go to press it, it'll shoot it all over the place and make a heck of a mess. Believe me, I've done it. More than once. More than once. Okay, I'm just going to take this and just wipe the white off. There we go. I'm going to give this a little bit of a quick rinse here. Squeeze the paint out. Getting it on me. Okay, and then we're going to take one and we're going to do it in this pretty bright red. Now this one might end up with 2 coats because I want it to be really covered well. Like the others, we're going to do the sides and the top. There we go. I'm just looking at it here, thinking as I'm going here. I want to make sure I got a nice full coverage on that. I can kind of tilt my head. The lights make it hard for me to see. Ooh, I got a pretty red fingernail out of it. You never know. You never know. Anyway, I'm going to put another coat of the red on there in just a moment after that dries. So we'll just kind of set that off to the side for a moment. And I'm going to get out my... No, I don't want to use the dark magenta. I want to use that light pink. Where is that? Parfait. A pink parfait. Going to get out some pink parfait. There we go. That ought to be enough to put a nice coat layer on there. Let me give this one more quick rinse. There we go. Just kind of get that out of there. Okay, so then we're going to go to the pink. And we're going to paint this one, the pretty pink color here. Ooh, I like that. That's a bright, bright pink. That'll be great for the Valentine's look. Pink parfait, that is. I do think it'll need another coat, though. I think the water kind of watered that down just a wee bit. And I think I'm going to make this part the top. I'm going to do it in this direction. Why am I determining that? Because there's a dark looking edge down here, and I don't want the top of it to have some kind of a weird looking dark edge. That's what just determined it when I looked down at the bottom. I'm just going to kind of cover that. Now I got my sanding block out too, because when we get done, we're going to give it a little bit of a sanding on the sides here, just to sort of rustic it up a little bit, so to speak. Give it a little rustic look to it, but you'll see that as we get going here and we get the raffia and the bow and, you know, the ribbons out and all that stuff and really fancy this little thing up. It's going to look real cute when we get it done. And these, like I said, they're just 2x4 pieces of wood cut to approximately about 3 to 4 inches. I think they're 4 inches. Here. Let me get the 0 in the right spot. Yes, they're 4-inch cuts. That's a 4-inch cut, so 2x4x4. That doesn't even make sense, does it? It's 4 this way, 4 that way, both the same. But you can tell which side is the upside by just looking at it, because that's where the cut area is. You could turn them the other way, though, and do it the other way, too, I'm sure. I don't know that it would make any difference at all. Honestly. But we're doing ours this way. So, there we go. Okay, that looks pretty well covered with the pink. I'm just going to go back and do a little more red on this one. Pull that little hair right off of there. I could see that. I don't want to mix it with the pink, so I'm going to rinse this again. A lot of times I just go ahead and use, you know, dirty brush and just go ahead and keep going, but we're going to rinse that off. I don't want it to get too convoluted with the colors. I want them to kind of stay, because we're going to add little swirlies in the background and little stuff like that. We're going to dressy them up in a minute here. We've got a long way to go. But that's all right, because we're just doing something fun. We're having a fun time making crafts, and that's the whole idea here, is to just make something with our art, anything you want to. It could be wood, it can be canvas. The idea is to create. You know, you'll find that when you get your stuff going and you get creative, you feel so much better. You do. You really feel so much better. There's so much therapy to art that it's really not that noticeable, but just to get it out of you, it's like a little awakening. It's like a little birthing type process, I guess. I don't know how you want to put it. For me, it's just one of those things. It's something that you just want to do. You want to create. You want to make. And when you do, you just feel so much better for it. Even if it's just getting out bad emotions, you know? It's the fact that you're working, and that you're working through the emotions, and that you're doing your art. That is what's important. Create every day, guys. Make something. Just even if it's just a scribble, just drawings and doodles and stuff. Make something. Make something. You'll feel much better for it. You really, truly will. Okay, so now we're going to take this one. Whoop. Oh. Ooh. Boy, did you see that? Good catch, Janet. Good catch. Get this out of the way here. And let's wipe the red off. Did I get it on my arm? I'm going to sit that one down right there. Bring this one back over here. Gonna rinse this one more time. Me like Bob Ross over here beating and thumping and banging and making a bunch of noise with my brush, huh? You betcha. I'll tell you, I really enjoyed watching Bob Ross. I still watch the Bob Ross reruns and stuff, but when I was growing up and when I was younger, when my kids were growing up, when I was younger, I watched William Alexander. When I became a young adult, Bob Ross came out, and I started watching him too, because I've always watched those PBS painting shows and sewing shows and all kinds of different shows on PBS. Actually, I've always enjoyed the creatives watching those things, and I've always appreciated that they have those for us to watch, to learn from. I definitely appreciated the art aspects of it, the opportunities that you got to learn from people. It was like your own little art school, your own little school just for you that you could go online, and or not online, on television, on certain. But of course now, the way that it was then and the way that it is now is two whole big different worlds. Because then, it came on at a certain time, and if you weren't there in front of your TV at that moment, well, then you were just going to miss out for now. Now, there was an opportunity to see it on a rerun, sure, but you didn't have any idea what day that rerun would be. They didn't tell you that. Oh, sorry you missed the episode. You can catch this one again on August the 8th or whatever. No, it wasn't like that. It just, well, it would probably run again sometime in the summer because, you know, just like now, all new, well, not like now. Now episodes can come out, new episodes can come out any time of the year. But when we were kids, the new episodes came out in the fall. And in the summertime, you watched reruns. That was the opportunity to see things over. And of course, in the summertime, you were so busy running around, you wasn't watching reruns anyway. So quite frankly, if you missed it, you just sort of missed out. You didn't really get an opportunity to see it again. Okay, I think I'm pretty done with that brush. I'm just going to sit that over there for the moment. And I can see a ridge of white paint right there. I'm just taking my fingers and smoothing that down because I don't want it to look like that at the top. And that's also keeping it from drying quick enough. All right, so this one's getting pretty close to being ready. How's this one looking? I'm just running down the little edges of the paint so that it'll dry quicker. Because what we're going to do to these now, are these are going to get Mod Podged, and then I'm going to apply the napkins on the top of them while these other two dry. So this one looks like he's still, where I put that extra paint in that little groove, is a little wet. So we're going to start with this one. This is going to be the top. Trying to make sure my fingers do not have any of the pink and red on them at this point, that it's good and dry. And this one's going to be the L. So for this, I want enough of this to come over the edges. So I'm going to cut one square out of it. And I want to get some of these little red hearts that are on it in the front area, but not where the L portion is going to actually be. So I cut one little square off of my napkin. One little square off of it, and see how it's got these little red hearts on it? Well, you can see that most of these are not going to be showing on the front. I want these two little hearts to show. Oops, something must be slightly red on here because I got a little bit on this. I got to be careful here. Now I need to peel this. peel the backing off of my napkin. There we go. Put this right here, and I'm going to get my Mod Podge now. Oh, and I'm going to open it if I can. Oh. Oh. Then I scratched myself with my own fingernail. That hurt. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to be crying over here. Don't mean to be whining. All right, I'm going to use this brush for this. Ooh, he doesn't seem like he got washed very well last time. He's a little stiff. Well, that's okay. He's going in Mod Podge this time, so he will be soaking. Okay. So now I'm going to take the Mod Podge, and I'm just going to put it right on top of the paint. And the reason I painted it white is because had I not, it would show through, because the napkin is so thin, you would be able to see through it. And I didn't want that. I didn't want you to be able to see through the napkin and see the coloring of the wood. And if you do, I want the coloring of the wood to be white. So that was the reason why we painted this white. And I'm going to put some on the sides here just to make sure it's got enough to go over the edges. I'm going to put some over here. Just kind of filling that in there. And I'm going to put a little across the bottom. I don't expect much to stick down there, but I may put it across there. I'm not decided yet. I'm going to use this right off of the top there. And I'm going to run some right here along the top, because I want it to go about, well, maybe halfway across the top, halfway on the sides. Now I want to make sure it's all covered here on the front with Mod Podge. And I'm trying to make, I went straight down in one angle, and now I'm dragging it back across to try to create little bits of area for it to hold on to better. And to also rub off any extras that's just sort of like running off the side here like that over there. That was a whole bunch trying to come off the bottom. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to sit that down. I'm going to wipe up that extra. Take this. And I want to place it as straight as I can get it. I'm going to take my fingers and rub over it and try to rub out all the little air bubbles. Push it down over the sides. There we go. It looks like that's on there pretty good. I'm going to push it down over the top. I'm going to put a little drop of Mod Podge right up here on those two corners. And I'm going to do the same thing right down here. Oops. Got to be careful what I'm doing, huh? Just going to put this right inside of that. Fold it over and press it down. Get a little glob more. Just rub it right on the inside. I'll show you what I did in just a second up on this side. And then I'm going to tap down the edges of it just to make sure that it's got good coverage. Okay, what I did down there was I'm taking this Mod Podge. Hey, Steve, thank you for commenting. I appreciate that. That way I know I'm actually on here today. I just kept going. I wasn't sure. I'm rubbing it up the side like that, and I'm just taking my finger and pushing it down over the top, just like that. I'm going to do it again on this side. Just going to rub the Mod Podge onto the napkin portion. Take my finger and just push it down. And then take the brush and tap it along the edges with more Mod Podge pressing down. Right along this side. I'm doing the same thing with the Mod Podge, pressing down on the edges. and over here. Pressing down on the edges. Okay, so now we've got this first little napkin on our block. I know it looks backwards to you, but you can see it's got the two little red hearts on it, and you'll see a picture of it when I get it all completely done. Isn't that pretty? That's really cute. Okay, now let's do this one. We're going to sit this one over here. We're not done with it either yet, though, so it's just got to sit and dry for a moment while that's working. And then we're going to work on this one. If I turn it this way, I think I'm going to turn it that way. Okay, now for this one, we've got this pretty flower motif that goes around the edge, and I want it to be in the bottom lower corner. That's going to be the L, and this is going to be the E. I'm just taking my fingers and working on little air bubbles that I can see from over here. Just pressing them in, rubbing it across. If you've got a brayer, you can use a brayer, which is sort of like a mini rolling pin. I've had people say, what's a brayer? It's sort of like a little mini rolling pin that you can use in crafts to press down, and it doesn't stick to your craft. I've tried it with a few other things and made a mess. You should do it with a brayer if you've got one. Don't just try other oddball things, because you can certainly mess up your crafts. Okay, I'm going to cut this right across here. It's going to be just a little bit bigger, because I'm going to try to set this one just a little bit different on here. Now, this is just good for wiping up now at this point, these pieces here. Just something to wipe up with. But we're going to put some Mod Podge. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put this one as far over the edges as I did that one. I'm going to put it a little over the edge, though, because I want a big enough area for the letter E to be written on here. So we're just going to, once again, take our brush and the Mod Podge and just put it onto the wood. And you pick it up. I'm going to have some over the edges, so I am going to make sure that I've got a nice adherence on the edges here. On this side, all over this edge, along that curve, corner block. I can feel it running. How about that? That's a lot, huh? Just a little much. Just going to wipe that off a little bit there. That's a bit much. Don't need quite that much. There we go. And just some across the bottom too, because I am going to have some down here. So I need to just go ahead and make sure I've got it across the bottom. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks to me, I'm going to go back across this way now to try to make sure that I'm building it to where it's going to get everywhere. All right. And then we're just going to put this down for a moment. Now I want to angle this one a little different. Just barely have the flowers in this area, because this is really going to be more about the writing, and this being on the sides. And I'm not too worried about this side because it's going to be up against the V. I mean, other than that I want it to stick well. Of course I want it to stick well. Okay, press down this bottom area. And just like I did last time, I'm going to take the Mod Podge and rub it on the tissue and fold it over. Take some more and press it down. Let me get a little more Mod Podge here. There we go. Push this side over. Get just a drop here. Not too much because this is the bottom and I don't want it to stick. Well, I'm not going to set it up anyway yet until it dries. I can see a couple more little air bubbles, so I'm going to go back and rub this back down real quick because this is actually the most important part of the surface here, what I see in the front. Okay, and put this down. It covers most of the top. That's all right. I'm not going to worry about that. And then on this one, I'm actually going to take it and bring it down over the top here. Press that down. I'm just trying to press that down. I know I'm getting my head in the way for you there. And then I'm going to take this, get a drop, put it over here, and bring it down the side here. Just kind of pat some more along the edge right there. And right here. That one, I can't even see where it ends at, so it's pretty well adhered there. Okay, so now we're done with Mod Podge. We're not going to be using any more Mod Podge, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in the water. Smoosh it down a little bit, try to get some good water in it. Put the lid back on that. Okay, and then we're going to move this one. Take this napkin piece and use it for some purpose, and then we can throw it away once we've used it up. There we go. See you later, alligator. Let's move this pink. Yep, that's still just a bit wet. How about the red? Put this right there, let it dry. Okay, the red's not looking too bad. This is the top. Okay. This one is going to be our O. This one is going to be our V. Turn it around. Got a little glab of pink right there. There we go. I'm just wiping those off. This towel's kind of wet over here, so I can kind of use it to clean my hands up a little bit. I actually need to get me a baby wipe. My hands are covered. And I don't want to keep transferring the same, transferring other colors onto my blocks. Let me just give my hand a quick wipe here. All right, that's better. That's a little better. I give that a moment to dry too. Sorry about that, guys. Just give me a second. Oh, I don't want to take off my beautiful fingernail. I know. I'm just a little whack. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I can't help it. Okay. So this is going to be the O. This is going to be the V. So we're going to put the V over here for the moment. And let's work on the O. Now for the O, we are going to paint a heart. And we're going to use that same light pink right here for the heart. And I want one of my little brushes. Let me push this up out of the way. Let's use you. I think you make a nice little heart. All right, and we're just going to just bring it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's about having fun. So here we're going to just put that right like that. And then Whoop, that's not right. Up and over there. There we go. I know that was an odd way of making a heart, wasn't it? But I'm eyeballing it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get it drawn on there. Okay, it's mixing a little bit with the red, but that's all right. I'm not too worried about that either. We're just going to fill it in. Just filling in that little heart. Figured he had a nice edge to him. He could make nice curved areas. That's why I chose that brush. And we're just going to fill it in, let the colors blend, not worry at all about that. Let me get a little more right there. Okay, that looks pretty good to me for just a hand-drawn little heart. It's a little crooked at the bottom. It needs to be more down this way and more, let me turn it. This way. And it's still not straight, I can see that. But you know what? I'm not worried about perfection. I just want it to be filled in real nice. I just want that color to fill in real nice here. Because it's going to have a little farmhouse look when we get done. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Now, let me just smooth that right there. There we go. That looks fine. Okay. I'm going to take this and just wipe it off. For a moment here, because I'm going to continue to use this little brush. I'm going to put it over here in that water. And I'm going to take, let me see, where's a brush with a nice ball tip on it? What about you? You do a good tipping? Just got a nice round tip. You do. I'm going to take this, the very tip of my tip of my brush, the ball, the tip of it, the tip of the brush's handle. I'm going to take that, going to get some white. Don't need a lot. Well, I'll be using more though, so it doesn't really matter if I get out a lot or not at this moment. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to tip it into the bottom, tip it right into it, just like that, okay? And then starting down here, I'm going to put a dot. And then I'll put another dot. And then I'll put another dot. And I don't have to make them all touch. I'm just going to put around the outside of the heart little white dots. This brush is kind of long, but it's got a great tip on it. Let me get a little more paint on that one. Just kind of dotting it on there. Needs more paint. You can usually get about 3 dots out of it. Now, they're not going to be the same. There you go. About 3 little dots out of it. Oop, that one's a little wild. Dot and dot. But we're not going to worry about it. Just dot it. Dot it. You can see I'm shaking today. I've drank too much coffee. So I'm using my pinky to try to steady my hand. There we go. You never really think about coffee doing that to you, but if you drink enough of it, it will. And I am a coffee drinker. I am a coffee drinker. Now just one in the middle right there. Dot. And another dot right there. And now we've got cute little white dots all the way around the heart. And then we're just going to put some random ones in the background. Not too many. You don't need 1,000. Just a couple. Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot. Maybe we can get a fourth one. All right. I think that's all we need to do to the O. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe put one more. I can see that looks a little off balance. Let me put that right there. There we go. Now it's just a little more balanced on that side because there was way more dots on this side and not nearly as many on that side. We could even put one more. See how I'm getting crazy with it, guys? I just keep going. You got to stop it. Just got to stop it. Just got to stop it. That is done. So there's our O. This one's going to be the V. This is the top. Let me wipe this off. Just put that back over here for now. Go back to my little brush. And now for this one, I'm going to have to get more red. Just a little bit. Because I don't need a lot. Let me wipe that off, and hopefully that'll help keep that from clogging up. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put some random red dots. Not big ones, just random. Random red dots on here. That looks like enough of those to me. And then I'm going to take some white. Let me wipe this off. And this little brush here, I'm going to get me some water because I know my white's thick. I'm going to just thin down a little bit of white here. And I'm just going to take it and I'm going to make a circle. Not a complete circle, just a random kind of circle line around it. Okay? So let's turn it this way. I'm just going to make a piece of a circle. And then a bigger circle. And then a piece of a circle. And they don't have to go in the same direction. They can go in any direction. Just making a little bit of a piece of a circle. And then a bigger circle. A little circle. And then the bigger circle can go this way. It's just a little bit of an odd design, just something random. I'm going to turn this around. Do that way. There we go. Drag it around there. Just a little piece of a circle and a bigger surrounding circle. Little piece of a circle and a bigger surrounding circle. Go in either direction. So can your bigger surrounding circle. It can go all the way over there. Get a piece of a circle and a bigger surrounding circle. Okay, so now we've just got this little random design on this one, right? We're going to just put that off to the side for a minute and let that one rest. And we're going to go back to our L. Now for the L, we are going to want, that feels pretty dry. That feels pretty dry to me. So I'm going to rinse off this little brush. I'm going to look for my black. Here we go. Let's get out a little bit of black. There we go. I'm going to take my flat brush, and then we are just going to freehand the letters on here. This is the top. Yep, this is the top. So I'm just going to bring this down here. Just pressing down, making it as flat as I can to get a full load of paint on it. I want my L to be a little taller. Okay, so now we've got L. And we're going to go ahead and go over here to the E. And I'm going to kind of size them up next to each other here. Oop. E is going to be turned this way. So my E can start about here and go to about here. So I'm going to go from there down to there. That's the same height that I want to make the E. So reaching into the black again. I'm just going to make a flat line that comes straight down. Now, even if it doesn't come down to where I drew that other line, I'm not worried about it because, as we know, the E has a bottom that goes across it. So right there brings it down tall enough. And then we're going to seek the middle first. It's not exactly straight. I'm not worried about that. Here's the middle. And we'll bring the middle about that far out. Go down here. We'll work across the bottom. And we're going to make the bottom longer than the middle part. And the top. Okay, now I'd like that to have just a little bit of a more edged look to it, so I'm going to reach over here with this side of the brush to where it has more of a straight cut, because this is a straight edge. A flat brush. Flat brush has a nice flat edge. Okay, so now we've got the O, we've got the L and the O and the E. Only thing left is for the V. Unfortunately, this part's not dried yet. So, while we're waiting on this little part to dry, what we're going to do before we work on the V, and we're waiting on the O to dry also, while we wait on that so that we can make the V. It shouldn't take too awfully long. It's not too terribly thick. And this is the top. I got to remember to turn it this way. Got to remember to turn it this way. And I can see by looking that if I put these together here, okay, here's what we're going to have. I don't want it to all get too touchy yet. But this is how we're going to have it sitting on our shelf. So the bottom of our V is going to be approximately right there. And the top of the V, so you got to figure that's going to be about this far over on this side, and it's going to be about that high. And then over here about that high. So I'm going to work my V from right there. But we're not ready yet because that's still wet. So we don't want to start working on that V at this very second. We're going to give it a minute. And we can do some other little random things. We can put some little, while we're waiting on that, we can put some little pink dots, very small pink dots in the background of the E. Now they got a little bigger there, so let me do that. Okay. Just to give it a little bit of a coordinating look with the other ones because they have dots and other writing in the back. And even though it's got the pretty flowers down the side, I'm still just going to add a couple of little dots to it to bring it into the other ones. Just a few here and there. About like that. There. Now I think that just kind of pulls that in to how the other ones look a little bit better. Just kind of brings it a little bit more into the look with the others, how the others look. All right, I'm just going to wipe that off. Waiting on that red to dry there. I can still see the red on it. I could just smear through it, but I'm afraid it would just mess it up. And I don't want to do that after wasting all this time. Not wasting all this time. After working all this time doing it, I'm not wasting any time. But I mean, spending all this time, it would be a waste of time to just smear through it and make a mess. That's what I actually meant. What I meant to say. Okay, so I think that for this, I think I might use this right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bow that's going to go on the top of it. And maybe I should make it to where it goes all the way around and ties them together to sit on the shelf. So if that's the case, I would need enough ribbon to go all the way. Now, do I have enough ribbon is the next question. Why, I do believe I do. This has a little bit more to it. Okay. So we'll cut that about right there. And I'm going to use this red and white polka dotted ribbon to go along with this because I think that that's going to look really cute with that. So we're going to work on that for a moment. We're not going to put it together yet. I'm just getting it cut while we're waiting on that to dry. Now you can take your ribbon and go just like this. Make 2 loops. Just put one right through the other just like that. And make an easy bow. Pull it back down to where you get it to the right. See how that made a real easy bow? And it's got the front of the ribbon going in the right direction. Both sides of the ribbon have the dotted part facing out. See if I put it down again? This one's turned in, well, they are both turned the right way. Once you get it, they're both going the right way, in the right direction when you do it that way. And that was just literally holding up 2 loops, taking one loop and putting it through the other. And that's all it is. That's all there is to that. Too simple. Too simple. And then you just adjust the loops until they're the same length. Okay, let's grab a little handful of raffia. Then to get some of the finer pieces. There we go. That's more what I want. It's thin. This stuff gets all over the place. But I really like how it looks. It's cool stuff. Okay, and we're going to take it. Kind of get it together here. And we're going to attempt, I don't know if that'll work. Maybe I ought to just tie it like a regular knot. That's probably the best thing to do with this. Push it through. Get these other little pieces that are straggle-aggle in here. Get on through there. There we go. Whoops. I'm losing bits and pieces, and it's getting in the paint. Watch out. I don't want it in the paint. Okay. Let me just set this to the edge for the moment. And we're going to bring it back down here and do it. Just do it. All right. Commit to the line. It's going to go from here to here. Oh, geez, old Pete. Now, you know what? You do something like that, immediately get you some clean water. Not in that one. On a clean paper towel. Ooh, look at that. Just came right off. All it did was scared me, huh? I know you guys had complete confidence that I would just get it right off. But that's what you do. Immediately. Immediately. Just stop. Get clean water. Clean paper towel. Wipe up the mistake. And if not, wait a minute. And it's going to dry. And once it's dried, there's no mistake. You just fix it. Right up through here. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it around and edge it a little bit. There we go, and work on this side just a little here. Like I said, I'm pressing it down just as hard as I can press it down so that I've got the same width on all of the letters. That's the easiest way to ensure that your letters are all going to be exactly the same width, is when you're doing that with one of these brushes, press down as hard as you can, and then it makes them all the same width. Okay, I'm going to let that be. We're going to stop with that. Let me turn them around here. I know these are backwards to you guys. I know it is, and I apologize for that. I so wish my phone had that capability, but I'm sorry, it does not. But we're going to put them together right here. Okay, and once they're completely dried, I'm going to take hot glue. Glue that right along the top right here. take this ribbon and I'm going to tie it all the way around all 4 of them so that they sit together as a group. I can hot glue these together. I'm going to tie them to tie this around it, around the outside. Put this little red bow at the top of it, and then put this raffia on there. And that's how it's going to look when it gets completely done. And I'll post a picture for you guys so that you can see it and how it looks. And you kind of just push that up for the moment so that you kind of see how the little bow is going to look going down along the outside of it here and around it with the raffia. But that's it, guys. That's the little thing that we're making today. That's our craft for the day. Well, thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought it was something fun to do, something different, you know. And I've got these little wood blocks. I like to come up with something for us to do for each season with them, something fun. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys being here with me. I will see you again real soon. Bye.